Archangel Michael says you always ignore him, skip him, and dismiss his signs. But this message is your last divine opportunity to make things right. There is a moment in every soul's life where time folds into destiny, and a final call is issued, not by man, not by chance, but by heaven itself. That moment is now. You are not here by accident. This is not a random message floating through the currents of the internet. This is not a coincidence. This is a divine confrontation, a heavenly intervention. Archangel Michael has been watching you, walking beside you, standing guard when no one else would. Yet again and again, you skipped the signs. You've dismissed the nudges. You've ignored the fire burning within your spirit. He whispered through dreams. He moved through strangers. He cried through delays and breakthroughs. He tried to get your attention in subtle, sacred ways. But you kept scrolling. You told yourself it was just your imagination. You called it a feeling, and then silenced it with distraction. And now, heaven is making one final appeal. This message is the last invitation. It is written in the fire of divine mercy and clothed in urgency. Archangel Michael is not just calling. You are being summoned. Not out of punishment, but out of protection. You were chosen before time began to carry a light, to walk in spiritual authority, to tear down strongholds and activate destinies. But somewhere along the way, you lost the frequency of heaven's voice. You got busy. You got discouraged. You got wounded. And in all of it, Michael never left your side. He has shielded you through car accidents, emotional breakdowns, financial ruin, heartbreak, betrayal, and even spiritual deception. He sent warnings, but they were ignored. He sent signs, but they were overlooked. And now he sends this message as your final divine opportunity to make things right. Type I am rising to get the blessing 4896. This is not about fear. It is about alignment. This is not about guilt. It is about glory. This is not about regret. It is about redemption. Heaven is not condemning you. Heaven is reminding you. The angel who has been assigned to you since birth, who has watched you cry into your pillow and scream at the heavens, is standing at your side. And he is not giving up, but he is calling you to respond. This time, with urgency. This time, with reverence. This time, with eyes wide open and heart fully surrendered. You may not realize it, but you've been walking with a spiritual deficit. You've been trying to win battles in your own strength that were never meant to be fought alone. You've been seeking peace without inviting the Prince of Peace. You sought guidance, but skipped the very message sent for your deliverance. Michael knows what's coming. He sees what you cannot. That's why this message is breaking through every spiritual wall you've built and piercing your soul now. Because something is at stake. Something only this message can awaken. What follows in the next sections will not be fluff. These words will be revelation, warfare, restoration, and fire. Archangel Michael is reclaiming your attention because heaven refuses to lose you to the chaos of this world. Pay attention. Every section will unlock what was hidden, restore what was stolen, and prepare you for what's ahead. This is not another prophetic video or feel-good affirmation. This is sacred. This is your moment. Will you finally listen? Type I'm related to get blessing 9999. How many times have you cried out, God, show me a sign, only to overlook the very sign that was sent to answer that prayer? The moments you thought were random delays, strange conversations, feelings of unease, dreams that lingered, those were not coincidences. They were angelic alarms. And leading those signs, Standing at the center of your divine dispatch was Archangel Michael himself. He did come to make you feel small. He came to protect your greatness. But when protection is ignored, destruction waits patiently in the wings. This is not a punishment. It is a pattern that heaven is urgently trying to break. You have asked, why do I feel stuck? You've wondered why your plans crumble just when you're close to breakthrough. You've noticed recurring numbers, dreams about spiritual battles, or sudden shifts in friendships or jobs. These weren't accidents. They were signaled. Divine patterns. Michael was speaking through the turbulence. He was orchestrating divine interruptions so you wouldn't end up in places meant for your destruction. But you kept chalking it up to life being hard. You normalized the supernatural instead of honoring it. And in doing so, you missed the strategy that would have saved you. Every time you overlooked the warning and followed your own logic, something within you dimmed. Your discernment dulled. Your joy became fragile. You began to accept struggle as your identity instead of a season to grow through. Archangel Michael wasn't silent. He was being skipped. And now, he's standing at your side once again, not in frustration, but in divine longing. He wants you to see how deeply you've been protected, even when you didn't deserve it. This message isn't here to scold you. It's here to show you what you missed, so you never miss it again. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 3478. Have you noticed how certain relationships ended abruptly, even painfully? That wasn't a curse, it was protection. You didn't realize the spiritual pollution that certain people carried into your life. But Michael did. He severed connections that would have sabotaged your calling. You thought it was betrayal, but it was angelic boundary setting. You thought it was heartbreak, but it was heaven's redirection. And now, you're standing in a place of uncertainty because your spirit still mourns the removal of what was never meant to stay. Heaven is showing you the truth today. You've been equipped for spiritual war, but you've been living as if you're powerless. You've been surrounded by angels, yet walking like you're alone. You've been filled with divine fire, yet hiding your flame under fear and confusion. And the one who has been standing in your corner through all of this is Archangel Michael. Not just a heavenly warrior, but your assigned general in the realm of spirit. He's been signaling you, through tension, dreams, strange delays, even unexpected encounters. But your natural eyes filtered out what your spirit needed to see. Some of the darkest moments in your life were ambushes that never reached you because Michael blocked them. That random shift in schedule that saved your life. That night you felt a presence in your room when fear tried to crush you. The sudden wisdom that came out of nowhere when you were about to say yes to the wrong door. That was him. Archangel Michael was not just watching, he was intervening. Yet the tragedy is not that you didn't see it. The tragedy is that you assumed heaven had gone quiet, when in reality, you had turned down the volume. Type I am delivered to get the blessing 7832. This is why heaven is pressing this moment so forcefully now. Because what's coming next in your life requires activated awareness. You cannot afford to miss another sign. You cannot afford to walk blindly. You cannot afford to treat divine warnings as optional extras. You've come to a spiritual intersection, and Michael is waving the flag. This is your moment to remember that you are not weak. You are watched. You are not forgotten. You are called. And the signs that felt like interruptions were actually invitations. This message is the sign you asked for. It's not wrapped in thunder or fire, but it is burning with truth. Michael is not accusing you. He's awakening you. He's saying, you've been skipping the very instructions that would lead to your healing. But heaven is not writing you off. That's why you're reading this right now. That's why your spirit is stirring even as you read these words. There's something inside you crying out, I knew it. I felt it. I just didn't act on it. But now you will. Because now, Michael's voice will not be ignored. Type I am chosen to get blessing 5511. There is a high price to pay when the voice of heaven is consistently silenced in our lives. Archangel Michael has not stopped speaking. He has not ceased protecting. He has not turned his face from you. But when you continually ignore the divine alerts sent to you in love, delay begins to form a spiritual wall, one that keeps blessings at a distance and chains you in cycles you were born to break. Michael is here now not to shame you, but to rescue you from the stagnation your soul has quietly accepted. You've been asking, why do things keep falling apart just when they seem to be getting better? That's not coincidence. That's a divine message that has gone unanswered for too long. Heaven has tried to shift you, but you resisted. Not out of rebellion, but out of fear. Out of comfort. Out of confusion. But the truth is, every skip sign has birthed a consequence. Every ignored dream delayed a promise. Every time you pushed away the uncomfortable nudge from Archangel Michael, the enemy advanced one step closer to territory that belongs to your destiny. The blessings of God are real, but they are guarded by obedience. They are not earned through perfection, but they are accessed through alignment. Archangel Michael has been knocking, and now he is demanding your attention. Because what's being held back is not just your money, or your relationships, or your peace. It's your calling. This isn't about just feeling good. It's about stepping into your divine mandate. There are people waiting for your obedience. There are breakthroughs waiting for your surrender. And the silence you've allowed is beginning to cost more than you realize. Type I am awakened to get blessing 6924. Can you feel it in your spirit now? That unease isn't anxiety. That stirring isn't guilt. It's divine conviction. Archangel Michael is lifting the veil. He's saying, look, do you see how far off course the enemy tried to take you? And you're beginning to realize the delays weren't just bad luck. They were consequences of ignoring divine directions. When you silence the voice of the messenger, you open the door to confusion. But here's the good news. Heaven never abandons. Michael stands with his sword drawn, ready to restore everything that has been stolen, if you will only listen now. Sometimes, the correction of heaven feels like fire, but it's a refining flame, not a consuming one. God isn't punishing you. He's purifying your atmosphere. He's resetting your perception. Because Michael sees the warfare ahead, and you cannot walk into the next season wearing the garments of ignorance and delay. You must be clothed in discernment. You must be armored in truth. You must be surrounded by angels and aware of it. There are blessings hovering over your life right now that will only manifest when you finally obey the instructions that were whispered to you long ago. Do you remember the last time you said, I'll deal with it later? That later never came. Do you recall that dream that haunted you for days, yet you shrugged it off as meaningless? That was Michael. You remember that near accident? That random person who gave you a word that scared you with its accuracy? That sudden urge to cancel a trip or avoid a call? That wasn't paranoia, it was protection. And you treated it as superstition. But now, the divine is unveiling what was really happening. Michael hath been screaming in whispers, and now he's speaking loudly. Type I am protected to get blessing 8123. There is no more time for delay. There is no more room for denial. What you tolerate spiritually will eventually dominate you. Michael is commanding that you recalibrate your attention, because the portal to the next phase of your divine journey is opening. And only the alert, only the surrendered, only the willing will walk through it with victory. Heaven isn't trying to pressure you. It's trying to prepare you. This is the season where delayed obedience becomes costly rebellion. But it's not too late, because this message is the mercy moment. The moment where you break the pattern and reset your future. You are being given something few ever receive, a final chance to break the silence, a final opportunity to partner with the angel assigned to protect your legacy. Archangel Michael is not just here for this moment. He's been here your entire life. And if you hear his voice now, do not harden your heart. Do not dismiss what you're feeling. That pressure, a heat in your chest, that trembling, that's your spirit waking up. That's heaven knocking on the door of your consciousness. And what you do next could change your entire future. If this message has stirred your spirit and sparked new courage in your heart, we invite you to give us super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue bringing prophetic clarity, strength, and hope to those walking the journey from betrayal to breakthrough. You can also support our mission through a PayPal donation. Just click the support here link in the video description. Every contribution, no matter the amount, helps us reach more hearts with encouragement and truth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a word of spirit-led insight, divine guidance, and powerful encouragement designed to equip you for your next season. Type "I'm aligned" to get the blessing 9047. Even when you forgot him, Archangel Michael never forgot you. While you were distracted by life's noise, burdened by your emotions, or even too numb to care, he was still standing, sword drawn, armor shining, shielding you from things you didn't even know were hunting you. He has fought demons that never made it to your doorstep. He has intercepted generational curses that tried to manifest through sickness, heartbreak, and despair. He has stood between you and premature death more than once. You didn't see it, but heaven documented every moment of that warfare. You often assumed you were lucky to escape situations unscathed. But it wasn't luck, it was Michael. When that toxic partner left your life, when the job rejection led to a better door, when the betrayal uncovered secret motives, those weren't just human events. They were divine interventions. Your angel stepped in and turned what was meant to destroy you into the very thing that preserved you. But even then, you did not recognize him. You never thanked him. You never paused to say, "Was that you, Lord?" Instead, you moved on unaware of the battle that was just fought in your name. Michael didn't ask for recognition. Angels don't operate out of ego. But heaven has taken notice of your repeated disregard for divine aid. Not because God is offended, but because your ignorance of angelic presence keeps you walking beneath your spiritual inheritance. When you don't acknowledge who's fighting for you, you forget how to fight with them. You forfeit the supernatural authority that is yours to walk in. And that's why this message comes now, to reawaken your eyes to the angel who's been fighting for you all along. Type "I am victorious" to get blessing 6284. You see, when the angel of the Lord is ignored long enough, it isn't that he leaves you. It's that your connection to his movements weakens. You begin to misread spiritual battles as emotional turmoil. You start trying to solve things through carnal means, forgetting that it's not flesh and blood you're wrestling with, but principalities and powers. Michael isn't just a guardian. He is heaven's chief strategist. He's not waiting for your perfection. He's waiting for your participation. He's waiting for you to partner with him, to walk in the awareness of his protection, and to move when he whispers. Let me ask you this. What if every setback in your life had a spiritual reason behind it? What if your delays, your heartbreaks, even your coincidences, were angelic moves designed to shift you back into divine timing? What if Michael stopped the wrong relationship not to break your heart, but to prepare it for the one aligned with your purpose? What if that rejection you cried over was actually a demonic trap he shut the door on? You've blamed yourself, blamed others, even blamed God, never realizing that Michael's sword was in motion to preserve what you were too blinded to see. Do you remember that moment you felt like giving up completely, when it seemed no one was coming to save you? At night you almost let go but didn't. That was not your strength. That was not willpower. That was Michael holding back the spirit of death from overtaking you. That was your angel standing between you and darkness, declaring, "Not today." But because it came in silence, you assumed it was random. You thought heaven had gone quiet. No, my child, heaven had gone active. But because you were too disconnected, you never discerned the move. I am shielded to get blessing 7135. The reason this message is reaching you now is because Michael is preparing for a battle ahead that you cannot face unarmed. And your armor begins with awareness. You can no longer ignore the spiritual world and expect victory in the physical. You can no longer live like God is a last resort instead of your first commander. You must walk like one who is backed by angels. You must decree things in the spirit before you expect them to show up in the natural. You must speak, pray, fast, surrender, and align like one who knows Michael is standing by your side. Heaven isn't asking for you to be perfect. It's asking you to be present. Archangel Michael doesn't need your worship, but he does need your cooperation. He needs you to stop silencing your own sensitivity. He needs you to break up with fear, to recognize the signs, to honor the warnings, because your spirit is being summoned into a new realm, one where the veil is thin and the war is real. You are not being called to survive anymore. You are being called to fight, and fight from victory, not for it. This is your moment to reconnect to the divine warrior who has never left you, even when you didn't deserve his covering. He's not angry. He's not frustrated. He is activated. He is focused. And he's waiting for you to say, "I see now. I hear now. I am ready now." I am chosen for war to get blessing 8742. You were not born blind. Spiritually, you came into this world with a light that heaven lit within your soul. But over time, pain dimmed it. Disappointment blurred it. Distraction covered it. And now, Archangel Michael speaks not just to your ears, but to your inner sight. You've been walking by assumptions when you were meant to walk by divine awareness. You've misjudged people who were angels in disguise and trusted people who were devils wrapped in charm. This isn't because you're weak. It's because your spiritual vision has been neglected. And Michael is here to restore what you didn't even know was lost. Do you remember the last time you felt something was off, but you ignored it? That wasn't your gut. That was your spirit screaming through layers of dust and doubt. When you train yourself to overlook spiritual nudges, you eventually stop recognizing them at all. And that's exactly what the enemy hopes for, to make you forget how to see. Because if he can make you spiritually blind, he can walk right into your life and steal, kill, and destroy under the disguise of normalcy. But heaven is intervening now. Michael is removing the scales from your eyes. You must begin to see again. It's not enough to know that you have an angel. You must move as one who is in sync with heaven's signals. You must pray in the Spirit. You must pause and ask, "Is this from God?" You must discern who is for your destiny and who is just a distraction. You must stop ignoring patterns that echo spiritual attack. Because the enemy doesn't always come in black robes. Sometimes he comes through a friend, a job offer, an opportunity, or a habit that feels good but leaves you empty. Michael sees them. He's been warning you, but you dismissed him far too often. Type I am seeing clearly to get blessing 5219. You said things like, I didn't see that coming, or I had a bad feeling but ignored it. My child, you were never meant to walk through life surprised by destruction. You were meant to be forewarned. You were meant to be a seer, a discerner, a spirit-led soul. But your sensitivity hath been starved. You fed your fears more than your faith. You filled your mind with noise instead of kneeling in quiet. Michael tried to reach you in that silence, but you rushed past it. You called it boredom when it was actually your spiritual upgrade zone. Right now, even as you read these words, something inside you is awakening. You're remembering the dreams, the signs, the odd repetitions, the conversations that felt orchestrated, the time you should have turned around, but didn't, the unease before tragedy, the relief after obedience. You're remembering because your spiritual eyes are opening again. That's what Michael came to do. He didn't come to punish you for being blind. He came to give you back your sight. Because what's coming next requires supernatural clarity, not emotional guesses, not intellectual logic, but divine, razor-sharp, angel-backed clarity. And here's the truth you haven't dared to admit. You've seen the signs. You just didn't want them to be true. You stayed in environments too long because they were comfortable. You tolerated relationships that drained you because you feared being alone. You clung to careers that made your soul sick because they paid the bills. But Michael kept whispering, this is not it. He kept nudging you to move, to shift, to run. And now he's not whispering. He's shouting through this message. He's saying, open your eyes. What you tolerate today will become your torment tomorrow. Type I am spiritually awake to get blessing 3387. You are being anointed with sight again. That's why you're reading this. That's why your body is responding with chills and your heart is pounding with truth. The veil is being lifted, and Michael is ready to guide you, if you will finally pay attention. You were never meant to live like a victim of circumstance. You were born to be a vessel of divine vision. You were never meant to be a casualty of spiritual warfare. You were meant to be a commander in it. But you cannot command what you cannot see, and you cannot see what you refuse to confront. The blindness ends here. The confusion breaks now. The fog lifts today. Michael is placing in your hands the lens of truth, the fire of revelation, and the sword of discernment. What you do with it will determine what opens or closes in your future. This is your final warning before certain doors shut permanently. But it's also your final opportunity to step into supernatural alignment. Heaven is not just watching, it's waiting. And the moment you say yes, the moment you say I see, is the moment your destiny begins to run again. Type I am restored to vision to get blessing 4606. The enemy's plan has always been generational. He doesn't just want to delay your purpose. He wants to poison your bloodline, distort your legacy, and derail the divine inheritance your children and their children were meant to walk in. And every time you ignore a divine warning, every time you skip Archangel Michael's signs, that delay ripples beyond your own timeline. It touches people you haven't even met yet. Heaven is sounding this alarm with urgency because your alignment is no longer just about you. It's about everyone connected to your anointing. You have prayed, Lord, bless my family, yet ignored the very instructions meant to unlock that blessing. You asked God to protect your children, yet dismissed the prompt to sever certain relationships. You begged for breakthrough, but stayed in environments that blocked the flow of heaven. Michael has fought to clear the path, but you've kept planting your feet in the wrong territory. And now, he's showing you why your destiny has felt stuck, because obedience is the bridge between your now and your next. And your disobedience doesn't just delay you, it delays the promise connected to your entire bloodline. Have you noticed how certain patterns keep returning in your family? Cycles of depression, poverty, addiction, betrayal. These are not just inherited traits, they are spiritual contracts left unbroken. And Michael was assigned to your lineage to help you become the one who breaks them. But you cannot break what you ignore. You cannot conquer what you excuse. And you cannot be the curse breaker if you keep skipping the divine instructions meant to lead you to victory. This message is your moment to stop this cycle, to finally do what no one before you had the courage to do. Type I am the curse breaker to get blessing 7762. Every skipped sign was a missed chance to alter the course of history. Every dismissed dream was a delay in divine reversal. You've been called to be a repairer of the breach, but instead, you stood at the edge of breakthrough and hesitated. That hesitation is not harmless. It allows the enemy to reclaim territory that Michael had already won on your behalf. Don't you see? Every time you say not now, the enemy whispers, good. Because your silence gives him permission to continue trespassing. But heaven is intervening. This message is the sword that severs delay from your future. You may not realize it, but the warfare you've been facing isn't just personal. It's prophetic. The battles that have nearly broken you weren't punishments. They were indicators that you are the one chosen to break what others vowed to. But chosen people cannot afford to ignore the signs. Michael is not a casual presence. He is heaven's military authority. When he gives an instruction, it is life or death. And you've been treating his signals like suggestions instead of sacred commands. No more. That posture ends today. There are blessings that heaven has kept in a spiritual vault, reserved for your obedience. There are divine releases that require your yes. There are family members waiting for deliverance that will only come when you step into full alignment. And Archangel Michael is here to remind you that this isn't about earning anything. It's about unlocking what already has your name on it. But the key is in your obedience. The access code is in your attention. And you cannot afford to hit snooze on this spiritual wake-up call any longer. Type I am breaking chains to get blessing 6481. The Holy Spirit is showing you now faces, memories, decisions, delays. You're remembering what you skipped. You're sensing what you've allowed. And it hurts. But it's a holy hurt. A healing hurt. Because now you see what's at stake. And Michael is standing ready to back you, to fight beside you, to reclaim what has been slipping away. All he needs is your agreement. Not lip service. True surrender. The kind that shifts atmospheres. The kind that makes demons tremble. The kind that doesn't just bless you, it sets your bloodline free. So ask yourself now, what will happen if I delay again? What will go uncancelled? What stronghold will continue to haunt my children because I ignored a message like this? This is not fear-mongering. This is prophetic urgency. Michael has fought too long for your future for you to stay silent any longer. Your obedience is the switch. Your surrender is the sound that triggers angelic movement. This is bigger than you. They always have been. Heaven is counting on you. And this time, your answer must be yes. Type I am the legacy restorer to get blessing 8953. There is a divine design for your life, a heavenly blueprint crafted with precision by the hands of the Most High. It contains the timing, relationships, callings, victories, and even the storms designed to shape you, not shatter you. And encoded within that blueprint are divine instructions carried by Archangel Michael himself. But here is the tragic truth. Many of those instructions were delivered, and you never opened them. They arrived in moments of stillness, in scriptures that flashed across your screen, in dreams you wrote off as strange. And while the scrolls of heaven waited to be activated, you moved forward without guidance. You assumed God was being silent when really, you never unsealed what had already been sent. You cried out for answers, yet ignored the messengers. You wanted clarity, but ran from the process that clarity requires: stillness, surrender, spiritual sensitivity. Michael did not stop delivering heaven's messages. He did not withhold truth. But the noise of life, the fear of change, and the wounds of your past made you numb to divine mail. You kept saying, "God, speak," but you threw away the envelope before opening it. And now the blueprint lies crumpled in the corner of your consciousness, waiting for your attention. Archangel Michael is not here to blame you. He is here to alert you. You're about to step into a season where what you build will either be blessed or broken based on how closely you follow heaven's blueprint. You don't have time to guess anymore. You don't have the luxury of trial and error. What's coming is too holy, too heavy, too world-shifting for you to wing it. You must move with divine accuracy. And that means you must revisit every skipped sign, every dismissed word, every ignored moment of divine insight. Your future depends on it. Type "I am ready" for the blueprint to get blessing 4370. Have you ever wondered why some doors open but quickly shut again? Why you got close to success but couldn't sustain it? Why peace came but never stayed long? That's what happens when you try to build without the divine plan. Michael saw you doing your best, but your best was not what heaven had planned. You were building based on survival, not strategy. You were operating from pain, not prophecy. And now, you're being offered the blueprint again. This message is the scroll being reopened. The ink of heaven is fresh, but you must receive it with holy reverence. You are not being called to hustle. You are being called to hear. You are not being asked to run faster. You are being asked to walk in alignment. Heaven is not impressed by your effort. Heaven responds to your obedience. And Michael's presence in this very moment is a signal that your blueprint is still active, still available, and still yours, if you will finally open it. You've tried long enough to figure it out on your own. You've asked everyone else what to do. But the answer has been sitting in your spiritual inbox all along, waiting for your eyes to open. Do not let another season pass where you move ahead without direction. Every step you take outside of divine guidance is a step into exhaustion, not elevation. Michael has been trying to slow you down, not to stop you, but to synchronize you. You thought the delays were punishments, but they were actually pauses. Holy pauses. Sacred moments where heaven tried to rewire your rhythm. You didn't fail because you were weak. You fell because you ignored the rhythm of the divine. But even now, that rhythm is returning. The map is being laid before you again. I'm walking in divine order to get blessing 5391. There is nothing more dangerous than a gifted person who is misaligned. And you, my child, are gifted, chosen, anointed. But your brilliance must bow to divine design. Your gift must submit to guidance. And the blueprint is being placed in your hands again, not out of pity, but out of purpose. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. But you must move differently now, with intention, with prayer, with vision, with Michael at your side, pointing to the path already carved through the wilderness, the path you ignored before, the path you are now ready to walk. The next phase of your life requires more than ambition. It requires angelic strategy. And that's what Archangel Michael came to deliver. Not more inspiration, but activation. Not more confirmation, but instruction. He's handing you heaven's GPS and saying, follow this exactly. The places you're meant to go, the people you're meant to touch, the battles you're meant to win. They all depend on your ability to stop guessing and start listening. The blueprint is sacred. The time is now. The instruction is clear. Open what you skipped. Follow what you ignored. And build what only you were born to build. If this message has stirred your spirit and sparked new courage in your heart, we invite you to give a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue bringing prophetic clarity, strength, and hope to those walking the journey from betrayal to breakthrough. You can also support our mission through a PayPal donation. Just click the support here link in the video description. Every contribution, no matter the amount, helps us reach more hearts with encouragement and truth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a word of spirit-led insight, divine guidance, and powerful encouragement designed to equip you for your next season. Type I'm building with heaven to get blessing 6866. Let this moment sink into your soul. This message is not just another reminder. It is not another whisper in the storm. It is not another divine nudge you can afford to ignore. This is the last opportunity, your final chance to align with the spiritual instructions heaven hath been relentlessly sending your way. Archangel Michael isn't just speaking with urgency, he is sounding a final trumpet in your spirit. Because the window is closing, the door is creaking shut, and your delay has already created too much spiritual leakage. The next move you make must be deliberate. Why now? Why this moment? Because you've come to a divine fork in the road. What happens next in your life will either lead to accelerated destiny or prolonged delay. The angels have been watching. Heaven has been tracking your steps. And Michael has pleaded before the throne. Give them one more message. Just one more. This is it. The final divine allowance. The last call before consequences shift from warnings to outcomes. It's not that God stops loving you. It's that divine mercy must make room for divine justice. This is your soul's urgent appointment with alignment. You have danced with procrastination long enough. You have worshipped comfort at the cost of calling. You said, I'll obey later, not realizing that later has become a cage. Michael has watched you ignore signs while praying for help. He's seen you ask for breakthrough while rejecting instructions. But heaven has not stopped loving you. Instead, it's extended grace again and again, until now. This moment, this message, is the final grace drop before divine motion takes its next step. Will you walk through it or miss it forever? Type I am not missing this to get blessing 4728. It's easy to read a message like this and feel inspired for a moment. But this is not emotional hype. This is not spiritual entertainment. This is divine documentation. Heaven is recording your response right now. What you choose to do with these words is being marked. And before you slip into the mindset of maybe this isn't for me, pause. Feel the weight of this truth. The reason this message made it to your screen, your eyes, your soul, is because it is for you. Michael hand delivered this moment. It carries the seal of urgency and the echo of destiny. Too many times, you've closed divine messages midway. You've said, I'll finish it later. You've heard prophetic words but never acted on them. You've clicked away from truth in search of convenience. But this message, you're still here, still reading, still being pierced in your spirit. That's not casual. That's heaven confirming you were meant to finish this one. Because this one is different. This one holds the final instructions before the shift. And Michael knows exactly what needs to change in your life for you to reclaim what's slipping away. There are assignments hovering over your life, waiting to manifest. But they require activation. That activation will come from another sermon, another playlist, or another motivational clip. It will come from one moment of surrender, one moment of obedience, one yes that is louder than all your excuses. You can no longer afford to silence the angel who has been sent to escort you to your promise. Michael is not coming to pat you on the back. He is coming to lead you to the battlefield where your inheritance waits. Type I'm ready to shift to get blessing 5055. This is not about hype. It's about holy transition. And the reason this message bears so much weight is because it's connected to the timing of heaven. You were meant to receive this today, not next week, not a month from now. Today, because the heavens are aligning. Here's a window opening, a portal of divine favor that will only remain accessible for a limited time. And what you do between now and then will determine whether you walk through it or walk away from it. The angel at your side has cleared the path. All that's left is your agreement. You have ignored enough, skipped enough, dismissed enough, and heaven still hasn't disqualified you. That's mercy. That's love. But mercy as a clock. Love has limits when rebellion becomes habitual. And you are standing on the threshold of the most important spiritual choice of your life. The past cannot be rewritten, but the future is still wide open. And Michael is ready to write it with you. Fight for it beside you. Guard it until it is fulfilled. If you say yes, type I say yes to heaven to get blessing 9264. Heaven is loving, but it is also lawful. The kingdom of God runs on spiritual principles, divine laws that govern breakthrough, protection, inheritance, and warfare. When you continue to ignore the signs sent by Archangel Michael, those laws still operate, whether or not you choose to participate. And the consequences begin to build, not as punishments but as spiritual byproducts of disobedience. You cannot violate the rhythm of heaven and expect peace. You cannot keep skipping messages and think you'll stay protected. There is a cost to every act of spiritual avoidance. If you keep ignoring the warnings, you'll begin to normalize warfare that was never meant to linger. That anxiety you've accepted as part of your personality is spiritual interference. That fatigue in your soul that never leaves, even after rest. It's misalignment. That repeating relationship cycle that leaves you broken and questioning yourself. It's evidence of a message skipped, a divine shift missed. Archangel Michael isn't revealing this to shame you. He's doing it to save you. Because the enemy is strategic, and every ignored sign becomes a seed for spiritual sabotage. The enemy is not afraid of your prayers when they are disconnected from obedience. He is not intimidated by your declarations if they are not followed by decisions. Every time you ask God for help and then disregard the path He sends, you give the enemy more room to operate. And Michael has stood by, watching you beg heaven for change while ignoring heaven's messengers. That cannot continue. The angels are ready to war on your behalf, but they move when you align. They act when you obey. Your response determines their release. Type I am fully aligned to get blessing 7834. Perhaps you've been thinking, nothing catastrophic has happened yet, maybe it's okay. But don't confuse delay with safety. The enemy's greatest weapon is gradual destruction. He convinces you nothing's wrong until everything crumbles. And by the time you realize it, the damage has been done. Your peace, your clarity, your favor, they've been leaking slowly while you've been distracted. Michael has been fighting in the background, but the time has come where your participation is required. The angels cannot carry your victory across the finish line if you refuse to step onto the battlefield. There's also something more urgent, something most believers never talk about. When you ignore signs long enough, you risk becoming desensitized. The voice of the Spirit becomes fainter. The signs become less obvious. Not because heaven has left you, but because your spiritual receptors become dull. And dullness is dangerous. It's how people walk into soul ties thinking it's love. It's how ministries fall into pride thinking it's favor. It's how families fall apart while pretending to be whole. Michael is trying to jolt you awake. Because if you slip into numbness, the enemy can disguise himself as a solution. There's a reason heaven said this is your final opportunity. Not because God's love has an expiration date, but because the consequences are now closing in. You have reached the moment of divine decision. What you do after reading this message will ripple through every area of your life. If you continue to ignore the signs, heaven won't punish you, but the absence of your alignment will invite warfare that was preventable. You'll face giants you were never meant to fight. You'll sit in rooms that were never meant for your calling. You'll settle in deserts when you were called to dwell in promise. Type I refuse to settle to get blessing 6402. And still, here's the mercy. You have not gone too far. You have not missed too many moments. This is the one. The moment that shifts everything. But not by emotion, by action. Michael is not interested in making you feel inspired. He is here to pull you into divine seriousness. The kind that says, I cannot afford to ignore one more sign. I cannot dismiss one more whisper. I cannot pretend I didn't feel that stirring in my gut. This is about spiritual maturity. It's about choosing alignment over comfort, truth over passivity, warfare over willful blindness. The truth is, you're tired because your soul is carrying too many things you were never meant to fight alone. Your body is weary, your mind is loud, and your heart feels stuck. But it's not because God isn't with you. It's because you've been trying to skip steps in a kingdom that honors order. Michael has offered you heaven's warning wrapped in love. And now, the next move is yours. Will you keep ignoring the signs, or finally follow them into the freedom waiting on the other side? Type I choose freedom now to get blessing 9228. One of the enemy's most effective tactics isn't blatant destruction. It's disguised distraction. He doesn't always come with fangs and fury. Sometimes he comes as comfort, as busyness, as endless scrolling, as a relationship that seems good enough but slowly eats away at your destiny. You haven't been living in rebellion. You've been living in redirection, misdirected attention, misdirected affection, misdirected ambition. And Archangel Michael has been trying to shake you out of the numbness, to snap you back into sacred alertness. Because distraction is not harmless. It is a sedative for your spirit. When your eyes are fixed on everything but heaven, your discernment dies quietly. You stop feeling divine nudges. You stop sensing when atmospheres shift. You miss the soft warnings. And you call it life being busy, not realizing the enemy has you exactly where he wants you, spiritually asleep, while your destiny slowly burns behind a curtain of noise. Michael has been trying to cut through the chaos. He's placed signs in your path, stirred your gut at odd times, even created divine disruptions to get your attention. But every time you've said, "Not now," you've added another layer of dullness. You may not even realize it, but your spirit had been exhausted, not because of sin, but because of saturation. Too much noise. Too many open tabs in your soul. Too much emotional traffic. And the sacred signals that once stirred you to tears now barely register. This is not who you are. You were born to burn with divine fire, to move where heaven moves, to wake when the angel speaks. And Michael is saying, you don't need more motivation. You need to be unplugged from the things keeping you spiritually sedated. Type I break the distraction now to get blessing 7125. Have you ever wondered why your greatest spiritual awakenings seem to come after loss or heartbreak? It's not because pain is the only teacher. It's because pain silences distractions. When everything you depended on falls apart, the voice of God becomes clear again. But you were never meant to live from collapse to collapse. Michael has been trying to get you to respond before the storm, not just inside of it. You've cried in the valley, "God, where are you?" But the truth is, he was speaking before the fall. You were just too distracted to hear him. Heaven is not asking you to become a monk, to abandon your life or your responsibilities. But Michael is calling for sacred boundaries. You must make space for divine communication again. You must start asking, is this helping me hear God or silencing him? Because everything you allow into your life either sharpens your spirit or dulls it. And the time for compromise is over. The enemy doesn't fear your belief. He fears your clarity. When you see clearly, you move differently. When you hear sharply, you speak powerfully. When you're aligned, you are unstoppable. That's why he sends distraction, not destruction. You keep thinking the problem is that you're lazy or unmotivated, but it's deeper. You've been spiritually overfed and undernourished, consuming endless noise and never digesting what heaven is saying. Archangel Michael isn't accusing you. He's revealing the trap. Because a distracted believer is a disabled one. You can't fight if you're scrolling. You can't hear if you're numbing. You can't discern if your mind is drowning in the shallow. It's time to fast from the noise, to silence the background voices, to put your phone down and pick up the word. Because what's coming requires a level of sensitivity you've been too dull to carry. Type I choose divine clarity to get blessing 8440. There's a reason you feel this tug in your chest as you read. Is your spirit waking up? It's Michael reaching through this moment to shake the dust off your destiny. You've been sedated too long. And it wasn't your fault, not completely. The world is built to keep you distracted. But you are not of this world. You are heaven's soldier. You are a kingdom voice. And heaven is calling you back into active duty. No more sleeping. No more drifting. No more escaping. It's time to feel again. Hear again. Fight again. Live again. This is your return to sacred focus. And once you reclaim it, the doors will begin to open. The battles will begin to break. The vibe will begin to lift. Because heaven never stopped moving. You just stopped watching. But now, you're coming back into divine sight. And with Michael beside you, the distractions that once ruled you will now fall beneath you. Because a focused believer is a dangerous one. And that is exactly what you're becoming. If this message has stirred your spirit and sparked new courage in your heart, we invite you to give a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue bringing prophetic clarity, strength, and hope to those walking the journey from betrayal to breakthrough. You can also support our mission through a PayPal donation. Just click the support here link in the video description. Every contribution, no matter the amount, helps us reach more hearts with encouragement and truth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a word of spirit-led insight, divine guidance, and powerful encouragement designed to equip you for your next season. Type I am focused and anointed to get blessing 9111. You've forgotten who you are. Not in the way the world forgets a name or a face, but in the way heaven weeps when a warrior lays down their sword and walks away from the battlefield, unaware of the crown still sitting on their head. You weren't born to be confused, scared, lost, or uncertain. You were born to walk in divine fire. You were fashioned in authority, formed in spiritual strategy, anointed for generational impact. And Archangel Michael has watched you retreat from the very destiny you once dared to dream of, because you no longer believed you were strong enough to carry it. But you are not weak. You are not broken beyond repair. What you've mistaken for defeat was really dormancy. You haven't failed, you've just fallen asleep. And this message is your wake-up call, your divine alarm clock. Michael is standing over your spiritual body and declaring, "Rise." Because the heavens remember what you carry. The angels have not forgotten your assignment. The oil on your life is still active. The sword in your hand is still sharp. And the time to walk in it is now. No more second-guessing. No more self-sabotage. No more false humility disguised as fear. You survived attacks others did. You've outlived betrayals that should have left you shattered. You've walked through seasons of such spiritual drought, yet here you are still standing, still seeking, still responding. That's not random. That's evidence. Proof that the fire never went out. It just got buried under life's debris. But Michael is clearing the rubble now. He's removing what dulled your flame. Because it's time for you to remember who you are, not in theory, but in power. You are not just saved. You are chosen. You are not just a believer. You are a breaker of atmospheres. I reclaim my authority to get blessings 7343. It's easy to forget your authority when your prayers seem unanswered, when your days are filled with noise, and when the people around you do not see who you really are. But heaven has never needed a crowd to validate a calling. Michael wasn't assigned to you because you're ordinary. He was assigned to you because you are a spiritual weapon, one that the enemy has feared since your first breath. That's why hell worked so hard to silence you. That's why confusion has chased you for years. Because when you walk in clarity, strongholds tremble. But you've laid your power down too many times. You've traded it for approval. You've watered it down to be accepted. You've silenced your roar so you wouldn't sound too intense. And yet, nothing about you was made to be muted. You were born with a voice that shakes darkness, a spirit that disrupts curses, a mind that unlocks blueprints, a heart that intercedes for generations. You are not just carrying potential, you are carrying prophetic voltage. And now, heaven is flipping the switch back on. This is not about ego, it's about essence. You've been asking God for direction, and Michael is responding with identity. Because when you remember who you are, you'll stop asking for what already belongs to you. You'll stop begging for protection and start commanding it. You'll stop praying weak prayers and start prophesying outcomes. You'll stop tolerating spiritual crumbs and start sitting at the table God set for you. But it all begins with this moment, this holy remembering, this sacred unlocking of the truth you've forgotten. You were born with power. Type I remember my power to get blessing 5782. And this is why Archangel Michael has never left your side. Because heaven doesn't assign warriors to the weak, it assigns them to the dangerous. the destined, the chosen. That's why you faced unusual resistance your entire life. A warfare was confirmation, not condemnation. And now, you have a choice. Will you return to your anointing or keep hiding behind excuses that no longer fit your identity? The world doesn't need a safer version of you. Heaven doesn't want a quieter version of you. The kingdom needs all of you, on fire, awake, armored, and aligned. So rise, speak, pray like your words shape atmospheres, because they do. Walk like angels go before you, because they do. Decide like heaven backs your choices, because it does. Michael didn't come to negotiate your obedience. He came to awaken your dominion. And once you activate it, everything will begin to shift. Because the moment a chosen soul remembers their power, nothing can remain the same. Type I am walking in full power to get blessing 8,500. This is the final plea. The sacred moment where heaven stands still, holding its breath, not in doubt of God's power, but in anticipation of your decision. The angels have spoken. The signs have been sent. The instructions have been whispered again and again. Archangel Michael has stood watch over your life, defending, warning, guiding, and shielding you in ways you'll only understand on the other side of eternity. But now, the scroll is before you. The decision is in your hands. And this moment marks the last divine opportunity to respond with obedience before the page turns permanently. Heaven is not issuing this warning to frighten you. It is doing so to awaken you. Because what's coming into your life next is too holy, too heavy, and too history-making to enter carelessly. You skipped signs before. You bright off nudges. You've downplayed dreams and shrugged off spiritual instruction. But this time, there's no cushion for further delay. There is no loophole in divine timing. The angels have been positioned. The warfare has been waged. The blessing has been written. But none of it can reach you if you don't respond now. Michael's sword has been drawn, not to destroy but to defend. He is stationed at your side, waiting for the divine code of agreement to be spoken from your mouth. I surrender. This is your burning bush moment, your midnight cry, your heaven-sent ultimatum, not because God is tired of you, but because he sees what's coming and refuses to let you miss your place in it. You must understand, delay is no longer an option. The opportunity you've prayed for is here, but it is sealed in obedience. Heaven is watching. What you choose in this hour will determine what unfolds in the next. I surrender to heaven to get blessing 6,099. Can you feel the pressure? That's not anxiety. It's spiritual contraction. Something inside you is trying to be birthed. And like any delivery, there comes a moment where delay is no longer possible. The baby must come forth. The promise must push through. And the angel midwife assigned to your life, Michael himself, is now calling for your agreement. You can't afford to be passive anymore. You can't keep telling yourself, one day. This is the day. The moment. The edge of everything you were born to step into. You've cried for restoration, but ignored the instructions. You begged for clarity, but kept skipping the steps. You've longed for the supernatural, but leaned on natural logic. But all of that has led to this crossroads. This is not the end of your story. It is the unlocking of the real beginning. But the key is not in another prophecy. It's not in another confirmation. It's in your yes. Your full, fearless, permanent yes. The one that doesn't look back. The one that doesn't wait to feel ready. The one that says, I hear you, Lord. I see you, Michael. I will follow. The truth is, you don't need another sermon. You don't need another warning. You heard enough, felt enough, seen enough. This moment is about action, because heaven has done everything possible to reach you. And now, the shift depends on your obedience. The sword is at your side. The fire is at your feet. The oil is ready to pour. But heaven's vault won't open until you say the words that activate it. Yes, Lord. I will not delay. I will not skip. I will not dismiss this one. Type I choose obedience now to get blessing 7,737. This isn't about how many times you failed. It's about whether you will finally answer the call. Heaven doesn't need perfection. It needs participation. Michael isn't waiting for you to be flawless. He's waiting for you to be fearless. The demons that fought you will flee the moment you obey. The blessings that were withheld will flow the moment you surrender. The delays that tormented you will break the moment you step into alignment. And the silence you felt, it wasn't heaven abandoning you. It was heaven waiting for your yes. You have reached the tipping point, the final pitch, the divine turning of the page. This message is not symbolic. It is literal. And the next seconds matter. Respond. Obey. Blue. Because Michael is already preparing to fight for what you're about to step into, but only if you're willing to claim it. You are not too late, but you are at the very edge of the deadline. What happens next is up to you. Type I choose destiny now to get blessing 8,810. The moment your spirit utters a real yes, heaven begins to move at a pace the natural world cannot understand. Chains that once held you for years begin to break in seconds. Doors you couldn't open with all your effort swing wide at the sound of your surrender. Clarity flows. Peace floods. And battles that drained you suddenly end without a fight. Why? Because obedience is the currency of breakthrough. And when Archangel Michael hears your yes, he doesn't just celebrate. It ignites divine warfare to bring everything into alignment for you. Your yes is not a whisper. It's a spiritual declaration. It's the language angels respond to. It's the command that heaven honors. You've been asking God for movement, but movement requires your agreement. This is not about earning favor. It's about releasing it. Michael has been circling your life, sword drawn, waiting for your activation. And now that you've said yes, everything begins to accelerate. The delays are broken. The fog lifts. The doors swing open not by your might, but by heaven's timing finally syncing with your surrender. You'll begin to notice the difference immediately. Relationships that once confused you will become clear. Some will fall away. Others will be drawn in. Divine replacements for toxic spaces. Decisions that once tormented you will now carry peace. You'll dream again, but this time the dreams will carry weight, instruction, and strategy. Even your body will feel the shift, because alignment doesn't just impact your spirit. It heals your whole being. That tension in your chest, that weight on your back, it will lift. Because heaven is now working with you, not waiting on you. Type I walk in alignment now to get blessing 9,934. Obedience doesn't mean your life becomes instantly perfect, but it does mean you are now walking with heaven instead of ahead of it. Every time you tried to figure things out on your own, you stumbled. But now, you step back into divine timing. And Michael is not just near you. He is actively making crooked paths straight. He's canceling attacks before they reach you. He's releasing held-up blessings that couldn't drop until you got into position. The blessings weren't denied. They were delayed for your protection. Some of the doors you thought were losses were actually locks. Heaven locked them until you were ready. And now, your readiness has been confirmed, not through perfection, but through surrender. Michael is shifting everything. Even time will seem to move differently. What would have taken you years in your own strength will now unfold in months. The supernatural is speeding up your timeline because you finally stopped fighting divine order. What a difference your yes makes. This is your re-entry into sacred rhythm. Heaven is rejoicing, not because you're strong, but because you finally trusted that God's strength was enough. The angels have waited for this moment. Your alignment has triggered a celebration in the spirit. And every miracle now coming your way is heaven's response to a warrior who finally came home to their assignment. At.pm in divine flow to get blessing 6888. You've come to the end of the message, but this is only the beginning of your transformation. What was once spiritual numbness has now been replaced with holy awareness. What was once hesitation is now charged with supernatural boldness. Archangel Michael has not left your side, not for a moment. But now the difference is, you see him. You hear the signs. You feel the shift. And you no longer dismiss the divine. That is the power of revelation. That is the miracle of awakening. The version of you that began this journey is no longer here. A spiritual death has occurred, an ending of delay, distraction, confusion, and passivity. And what remains is your true identity, an obedient, activated, dangerous child of God. Michael doesn't just protect you now, he walks with you, because you're finally walking with heaven. You've reclaimed the rhythm. You've remembered the assignment. And your yes has unlocked divine momentum that no force of darkness can stop. Let this truth seal in your spirit. You didn't miss it. You didn't waste too much time. You didn't fall too far behind. The fact that you made it to the final line of this prophetic message is proof that heaven never gave up on you. The angels waited. The spirit hovered. The flame flickered but never went out. And now, everything is shifting. You will never be the same, not because of emotion, but because of spiritual realignment. The curse is broken. The fog is gone. The door is open. And the angel is standing at your side, sword raised, ready to war with you. If this message has stirred your spirit and sparked new courage in your heart, we invite you to give a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue bringing prophetic clarity, strength, and hope to those walking the journey from betrayal to breakthrough. You can also support our mission through a PayPal donation. Just click the support here link in the video description. Every contribution, no matter the amount, helps us reach more hearts with encouragement and truth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a word of spirit-led insight, divine guidance, and powerful encouragement designed to equip you for your next season. I'm forever aligned with heaven to get blessing 5555.